So I was thinking a bit about the annual schedule here again, particularly this time of year, because October is so awesome. It really is. The weather is so great. The nights are a bit chilly. It just starts to get chilly right around now, and it's usually not rainy. Um, Even the first week in November is not terrible, and I think that I should use that time, especially since it has two events I really like in it: Day of the Dead and Halloween. However, there's a big problem. They conflict. Um, Even though they are actually related, Day of the Dead is a very complex event. It comes from a mix of cultural things, as does Halloween. Uh, in the local culture outside the Bosque, I don't want to mix them. And I do want to celebrate Day of the Dead pretty heavily because I think it's really awesome. And I think that next year I should be able to gather some people that are really into it, and that we set up altars, and that we buy the local flowers and that we grow them. I've tried to grow them before, and I think they grow somewhere else because nobody grows them around here, but they buy them. In that case, I'd rather switch to different flowers. Um, I'm definitely against harvesting the orchid blooms because those become orchids. And I want to actually put those orchids higher up in the tree so that they fill the tree with orchids. I've seen trees like that. The question is, do I do a Halloween party in the Bosque? Well, sure, why not? And what I should do is look at the next year's calendar, see what time, when November 1st lies during the week, and if it's later in the week, throw a Halloween party the weekend before and have people camping out here the whole time, and then do Day of the Dead as well, including visiting local cemeteries, which is the most common thing people do. But I also want them to bake the bread. I also want them to set up their own altars with photos of the people that they want to remember. I want to have death-related themes discussed. Like one chick I know runs a death cafe where you talk about death, and I have my own thoughts about death. It's not a bad time to think about death. Uh, and I guess I just see the Halloween thing as totally separate. Like, I wouldn't want people wearing Halloween costumes out to Day of the Dead. I'm fine with if we all learn face painting really well. I think that's really fun, and everybody can learn how to do it. And they can take Day of the Dead back with them to where they come from and do a version of it there, because it's a healthy and really cool, deep way of dealing with death. It's really awesome. But Halloween for me has never been anything to do with that at all. And I don't want to turn Day of the Dead into any scary thing or something, and it just isn't. So I want to divide those two. It would be interesting to, during this month, film scenes for a horror film once a year. I've always thought horror was a really interesting genre, even though I don't really like to watch it. Um, it seems relatively easy to do, and I have the perfect set for it. And it could be done in a way that I don't see as totally stupid. Like, I liked Blair Witch Project, you know. We could make a plan for people who are going to be here the whole month to actually have some twisted kind of underlying plot in the YouTube channel that we have, to imply things and then bring it to a sudden head and almost do a prank just before Day of the Dead. Although pranks are so dangerous, like, if I'm going to publish somebody got killed or something, someone's going to think somebody got killed, so that's not as fun. I could skip all that, since that's really difficult, and just do October with a lot of costumes, which I want to do anyway. So I just extend costumeness, including a lot of face painting or whatever we can do that's fun. It's a great month. And that I expand the idea of Halloween a little further, I think, Halloween does have real depth in history that I didn't grow up with because it was considered very bad, and I didn't grow up in like Ireland or something. But I think I would like to do pumpkin carving or squash carving, I guess. But the thing is, they last really well as food, and so I hesitate to get into art things that, like, I don't know. I don't want to carve food and have it rot. I have a problem with that. I've always had a problem with that. So what can I do for Halloween? Marshmallows. It's not very specifically Halloween. I'm not really into going around begging at houses or anything. How could I reimagine Halloween? Given my values, given what I want to do. Um, I think just the costume party. That's always been my favorite part of Halloween anyway. I don't really need it to be a scary thing. I could choose a theme each year for what the costume is for next year. So like now, I could choose what the costume theme is for October next year. A lot of events do that, where they choose a theme for the year, festivals and things. Um, I think I could choose multiple themes because it's a big place, and I would like to have various elements, and I have a lot of different types of camps that I would like to create. And I guess I can just list those on a spreadsheet and then choose which ones I have people for, which ones seem easiest, more attractive, more fun. Um, I don't know when the medieval fairs are in Mexico or other things, but I could during October. This is not a bad idea. During October, for example, there's a big, huge reenactment thing of a battle against somebody or other. I don't know. They got big red hats on and stuff. It's a whole other state. I know nothing about it. But we have all these dance groups around here. It would be interesting. Almost have a dance off. It sounds nuts. But I don't want to like reenact a war or something. I don't know. It seems difficult. I don't really want to have it be a spectator event. I want to have it be created by the people who are here, and that any spectators watch it through the camera, perhaps in a virtual space. But it would be interesting to invite existing groups to come here, have camp out spots for them, get sponsors and have tents. I want to build a lot of housing anyway. But for now, I would have to say to most of them, you're going to be sleeping outside. Bring a tent. And if they can work it out, great. And if I can do anything I can do to provide more housing or tenting type things, that'd be great. A fairly short, maybe, event. One of the weekends in October. Maybe one of the weekends in October. It could be the second weekend. It could be the third weekend. Now, the rains fall off a lot during the latter part of October. So whatever weekend is before Day of the Dead is probably ideal. That's my guess. Make extras of the costumes if we can. Figure out how we can do that. Add to them, change them. And in a way, this would be a great way for these different dancers to come together and compare dances. I'm particularly interested in the dances that are in local towns. I'm not really interested in salsa or the, kind of colonial costumes as much. I guess that's fine. I don't know if I really care. You know what? I would encourage. I don't know that I have to have one theme. I would encourage, like, I could have an alien camp where those people dress up and act as aliens whenever they're in a shared space. This would be really funny if everybody was in character in a shared space whenever they go in that space. A pretty big space. I got a lot of space. I don't know what result that would have. What if we have reenactors of different kinds, and they have their camp, and then there's cave people over there and aliens over there, and That'd be some kind of weird cosplay event. I guess we could even call it that. Although I'm not into the kind of cosplay where people dress up as commercial characters that much. I'm just not interested. I would rather people make it more individual to them and that they could kind of pick a theme. It could be that people coming from a certain place come with a theme. I don't know. I hadn't thought of that a lot before. I was thinking of a lot more educational stuff. But I also see no reason that people shouldn't come here in costume all the time. I mean, there's times where we're very focused on work here. This is not one of them. Well, actually, there's a ton of work to be done, especially this year. But things have been unattended for a long time. Who knows, maybe I should schedule a couple work parties and just invite people I like and have the people I like tell the people that are also coming, you know, look, this is not really heavy work. It's a work party. It's a training party for what this place is. It's a thank you to people who have already been here and helped out. That's an interesting idea. And work is a four-letter word to a lot of people, so that'll keep a lot of kinds of people away. Of course, free attracts too many people and the wrong kind. I don't know how to handle that. I'd rather make it so no one pays anyone. Not with cash. You know what? If there was a YouTube channel being published about what was going on in this intense time and other parts of the year as well, the place can pay for itself. That's what I feel like. I feel like if I can train people to be part of recording themselves and doing a bunch of cool activities, and we're broadcasting a ton of that all the time, certainly more than a guy rambling on like is going on this year, I think that's watchable. And I maybe I should try better at communicating that concept, almost like a reality television show where no one's in charge. I mean, the place is in charge. The vision of it's in charge. I'm in charge. And other people here are also protecting and creating that culture, which should be fairly well defined, much better than something like Burning Man. I don't even know that if we do that, that we really have to have Halloween at all. This is a terrible thing to say, but like to not host Halloween. But I really don't know what Halloween looks like. If we're going to be in costume more often, and that's my favorite part of the entire holiday, we could do some pagan shit. I could, you know, I haven't done this in some years, but look up a bunch of old pagan rituals and stuff and do some of them. At least have campfires. Right now it's a little windy tonight, so we'd only have a campfire in a fairly wind protected area, which I'm creating more of, a lot more of them. Good time to collect seeds, but that has limited excitement to it. I should this time of year have a fair number of squash. I don't know if I do because I can't get to most places we planted it. Things are just very grown over this year, but there's probably squash down there. So we could at least eat a lot of squash, even if we don't waste it. We could eat it, we could cook it and pig out on squash. Oh yay. It's not the most exciting food in the world. I think I should just fill the month with as many activities as possible and get as many people to stay for the whole month as possible. That'd be really cool. This is the ideal month to be here. Go on some field trips. We can plan those. But mostly be pretty focused on things here. and I guess do all the normal stuff I want to do anyway. Study, research, do experiments. It's a great time of year to build like rustic shelters because winter's coming on and things are still wet and some things are dry, and we could play with some things like that. I don't know what that has to do with Halloween though. Try and make some tallow candles. We could do hand fastings this time of the year. That'd be pretty cool. This could be a great time to do hand fastings where you marry people for a year and a day. And you do it in the middle of October, and they come back next October, still friends, hopefully. And maybe they re-up their marriage and do it again, or maybe they marry somebody else. It's not a legal marriage. No one should use the term husband or wife or make any legal confusion about whether there's anything actual going on in terms of government status of marriage. I could do real marriages too. Now they've made gay marriage legal in most places. I think all over the country, I believe they did that. I could do some gay marriages, that's fine. But marriage is, no, it's an invite-only space, so people could do it like they do it at Burning Man, kind of. But I don't want to host the kind of marriages where the whole family gets together and all that. Like, do that somewhere else. I'm not set up for that. I don't have the infrastructure. Largely, I think that this will end up being the end of the season for each year's kind of Bosque season. Um, some people can tough it out during the winter, especially as I try and improve housing, but it's chilly right now. Like, I just looked at a picture from years ago and everybody's all bundled up around a fire. And the nights are just chilly because of the length of the day. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how to do Halloween anymore. I don't know how to do that here.